Many organizations have diversity and inclusion program which try to hire persons with disabilities, but beyond just hiring, what does creating an inclusive workspace for persons with disabilities mean? Mohammed Feroz is a market data analyst in Bengaluru. He is deaf by birth and cannot speak. And for him, landing this job was a dream come true.
I work at one of the top MNCs. There's an inclusive work culture there. But sometimes I still feel lost.
Will a person with hearing impairment be given an interpreter during the interview? If there is a test as part of the interview process, will a person who is blind be given a special keyboard or a question paper in braille? And if the person has an invisible disability like dyslexia or a blood disorder, should they even disclose this before the interview to the employer?
If I disclose, I may not even get an interview opportunity. If I don't disclose, maybe a lot of organizations specifically are looking at diversity hiring, increasing their disability headcount. I may not get that chance. The biggest apprehensions that a person has when he appears for the interview is whether the person will have an equal opportunity. For example, assuming that a person who is on a wheelchair cannot travel, is one of the biases that most people have. Or a person who is blind would not be able to work on a computer at all. A person on a wheelchair might be comfortable traveling, and assuming that the person cannot travel means you're actually having a bias that the person does not get that opportunity, and the person gets what you call as sometimes an individual contributor role or an analyst role or a desk role, which is not what the person wants. So making a decision on behalf of the person is what I would say is the indirect form of discrimination that comes to place and makes it more difficult for individuals with disabilities.
It was easy to get along with my first team of colleagues. I taught them sign language and even had a good rapport with my manager. But after 2 years, I took up another work process, which meant that I had to teach them sign language all over again so that they could explain the work to me. But there was a communication gap. Many of my colleagues do not approach me for anything other than work, and this makes me sad.
A wheelchair user needs a ramp. A person with visual impairment needs a special keyboard. But when we talk about reasonable accommodation, it goes beyond that. Sharmila was 26 years old when a boulder fell on her back and injured her spinal cord. Though she developed a locomotor disability, Sharmila was not aware of her rights at her workplace or what she could avail besides transportation.
ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಏನು ಆ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಡಿಸೇಬಲ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. ಆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಖುಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಒಂದು ಟಾಪ್ ಎಮ್ಎನ್ಸಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನು ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ಇದಾವ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಕೇಳೋಕ್ಕೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಜಾಬ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಕೂಡ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಅವಕಾಶಗಳನ್ನು ನಮಗೆ
Because see, a normal person can easily walk within, if it is a restroom in a first floor or in this floor only, like around 50 meters. He will walk within just 10 seconds or 20 seconds he will reach over there. But if it is for me, it will take at least 1 minute to reach out the restroom, go inside and get the restroom. My needs need to be completed, then I need to come back. At least for me it will take 3 to 4 minutes.
Sometimes reasonable accommodation means giving extra leave to a person who needs to go for blood transfusion. But it's not just about the boss. The employer also needs to ensure that everyone in the team understands that this is not a special treatment, but in fact simply an accommodation to ensure that persons with disabilities can perform at the same level as an able-bodied persons. All these things are even mentioned in the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. We are at Ecos, a cafe in Bengaluru that has the usual sandwiches, coffee and cakes on the menu. But what's different about Ecos is that most of their employees are persons with hearing impairment.
Yeah, initially when we started, they had a lot of, they were very skeptical. They didn't know how people would react, how people would understand what they would say. That is why we introduced this ordering system, where it won't be a difficulty for the customers and the staff. Each food item in the menu has a code, like A1, B1, C1. So they can either show it in sign language looking at the board, or they can write it down. And for any other small signs like thank you and all, we have put them on the menu. It's just spread across the menu.
DRE Infomedia Private Limited is a data entry and call center where 50% of their employees are persons with disabilities. And the company is very clear that what they're doing is not for charity.
Yeah, why should it be a CSR initiative? When you have MBAs, you have BComs, you have chartered accountants, you have auditors, you have experts in Microsoft Excel. So where is the disability factor? Except that they can't walk? Except that they can't see? Is that a disability? No. It's just that we need to look at it with a different perspective.
ನಾನು ವಿಂಧ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದೆ 2015 ನಾನು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ವಿಂಧ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ. ನನಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಜಾಬು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂವು. ಮತ್ತು ಹಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಮೇಲೆ ನನಗೆಲ್ಲ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಲ್ತಂಗಾಯಿತು. ಕನ್ನಡ, ತೆಲುಗು ಮತ್ತು ತಮಿಳು ಆರ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷು. ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ಟೀಮ್ ಲೀಡರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ VASಗೆ.